Afternoon, everyone. So, in this video, we're going to do a game review. It'll be expedited, but I did want to use this as a way to sort of show how to go over a game, how to think about things. I think one step of getting better, and something I think is missing when I hear a lot of people talk about this game is, they kind of boil things down to, I guess, that idea of you don't know what you don't know, right? So if you're making small, if there's little decisions you're not making that are good, you don't, but you don't know that they exist, the game can seem much more simple than it is. Whether it's activation order, whether it's placement on terrain or backstopping or crews or order of activation, anything like that. Like, I think there's always little things that could be better. And I'm not even going to the extreme that about people blaming dice, but it's almost like people go, oh, a couple things went here, I made a decision wrong here or there. And when you really look back at a game, you say, well, that could have been better. I could have did this better. These little things that add up. And so in this game, I played versus Kurtis last night. It was for the Lunchmeat semifinals. I'll give you the spoiler. If you don't want a spoiler, go watch it yourself on Nobility's channel. If you want the spoiler, I lose. But I spent a lot of time after the game kind of reviewing the VOD, mainly thinking about where I think I made a critical error, and then also finding little things from there, little either avenues of play. And I think this is the experience that's hard to get without either streaming your games or really having a memory to be able to think back and think about what happened. Because if you don't do this sort of analysis, it's harder to see the plays when you're there. And this is actually one thing I try to do when watching stream games. I usually don't stream with sound on. I don't really like listening to the players much. I really listen to commentators sometimes. I like to look at the board and just look for plays, just look for ideas, and see if the people do them. And don't feel like if they do it differently than you that you were wrong. I'll give you a great example. Nobility, who's streaming this, he streams a lot of his games, whether they're friendly games or tournament games, and I watch him because he's a meat man. And we talk about this. He fundamentally plays the game different than I do, especially when I see him play. Like, he's played a couple of Midnight Suns games. Even when he plays defenders and stuff, like, he fundamentally plays different than I do. And I'm not saying one of us is right or wrong, but there's plays that I'm like, man, I would do this, this, and this, and he does one. I'm like, oh, that was pretty cool. And this, I'm like, I still wouldn't have done it my way. But watching and just looking for those opportunities, I think, will make you better. And it's very easy coming from the outside and looking in, especially when watching other people play, to be like, oh, I think you should have did this. And I don't try to bombard people. I think one thing you shouldn't do is bombard people after a game, win or lose, and be like, you should have done this and this, unless they want that kind of feedback. I know I sometimes message bots after he plays a stream game and go, hey, I think this would have been a cool play. Maybe you could have thought of this. But I think that, and Kurtis and I do the same thing. I think you need that kind of relationship, and maybe the person wants feedback or something, or you give it in a tactful way. But we're going to go through this game. I'm going to tell you, some key points of why I did X or Y, where I kind of maybe thought afterwards of could I did something else. And it just helps you maybe get into mind of what I'm thinking while I'm playing. So, we pull Infinity Scrolls. He picks 20. He was never going to probably pick 17. He picked this side of the board, which makes sense. I'll wait till rosters aren't revealed. So he has Steve 3, Thor, Proxima, Beast, and Shang. And I got A-Bomb, Red Skull 2, Blade, Mummy, Danny. So I have priorities. So my idea going in is saying, okay, I can at least put pressure on 3 scrolls you've heard me talk about in the opening. So, if we just fast forward, I say, okay, all these scrolls are, this board is very annoying for this side. More so, luckily with Bump, you can get around some of the annoyance. But it also, you'll see what created afterwards is safety for him. And that's the benefit of picking sides sometimes. So, we put out, we'll just go to, is there a better way to do this? Just click forward. I don't want to have you hear my stamp on my keyboard a bunch right now. So here he's putting Thor down. All right, right. So we're here, and then so my thinking is, and it was a slightly flawed. These mummies and Blade should be in more. Thinking was okay. Safe. I can safe grab the one back here. I can't jump on the building from this far, but I can go up next to it, bump on top, and pick it up, and then I can walk backwards. It does kind of suck that if I get pushed off of it, I can only short walk back, so I probably won't get to the objective, which isn't a big deal because I got two other people to stand on it, but I didn't get pushed, and it was fine. Maybe, I guess technically Shang might have been able to get to me. Um, you know, so the next idea, I'm saying, okay, he's going to take one of these two, either his home or the side. A-Bomb can get to both of them. I'm going to take either his home or the side one, and then he's forced to come get mine. That's the general principle of it. And I don't know what it looks like from their side. Obviously, from my view, it's different. Yeah, so the grunts stand up here. Red Skull actually he didn't get pushed. He walked all the way back here. The reason for that is I have bump to get. I'm gonna get extra power, and I have bump to get back up. I didn't want Shang to like randomly attack me. You'll see a decision later that it should be. It's fine to go down there, but I probably should do something a little different. So I got his scroll, didn't get pushed, walked back. He got pushed with Beast. I mean, it's not, like I said, it sucks that he got pushed. Like, you might feel bad, like, oh, two of his characters got pushed, neither of mine got pushed, but mine were safe grabs, his weren't, and I guess the other thing would be, his didn't really punish him that much. Whether Beast was standing behind this building or standing back here is not really that big a deal. The same for Proxima, like, she got pushed to the side, which could have been punished. I did get an attack on her with Blade and Danny, but she took no damage from it, so it didn't really matter. This is probably... just talking about this setup, I like this setup to like double safe grab and threaten a bunch, but you're I've talked about this before, you're kind of left with like, if they do dive yours, you're only left with these three models to kind of punish them. And so I think you really got to think about who they're going to pick up with, because I think there was a world here where I went with him and picked up this one that I should have went with Danny and picked up my own scroll. So Danny, Bump actually gets around a lot of this map's deficiencies, because I could walk up to the building, get up on it. Okay, if I get pushed, I can only go so far, but I can walk backwards and maybe come to this side, which is a little more safer. I don't know why I'm trying to tab like I'm in the game. Come back over here to where put more pressure over here. And if I did that, if I had that idea when Beast got pushed, because he was like behind the car, right? When he got pushed behind the building. Let's see where he ended up. He ended up like right behind it, right? When he gets pushed, I should probably push him like directly to the side, because he has to be like parallel with that. So he would end up like in front of this car right here. And the reason being is I could this is where like this sucks, because like nothing he picked up was like super unsafe. Because in my head I'm like, oh, maybe I can walk up, punch him once, but I have to probably bump to do that. I can throw the car at him, I guess. Walk up, bump, punch him. I can't throw the car if that happens. That sucks. That's what kind of sucks, is like if he doesn't, like, if this wasn't here so he could be pushed forward more, it would probably be a little bit more beneficial to me. So maybe it was just a map on this case. But yeah, just the fact that like I could maybe pick up with Danny and not have A-Bomb have one, and he could go after one instead. Let's just see what happens. He does his thing. He puts Shang there, which is a nice little location behind the terrain. I attack Proxima twice. I do no damage. Thor comes over, gets ready for next turn. So that was fine. Like, maybe I pick up with Danny instead of A-Bomb, and then he runs over here. Maybe A-Bomb can punish something as far as, like, walking and doing something else. But how the play turned out wasn't terrible. I also think that maybe Proxima, because I knew Blade had to go, or not Blade, I knew Thor had to go here, because like no one's standing on it. I don't think he can afford to go down the point, and he's not going. I think Proxima maybe should have been pushed the other way, and basically say, okay, I have A-Bomb here, you have Beast. If Proxima goes the other way, yes, Blade can't attack her turn one, but now I have priority, and instead of using my extra carrier like I could use Red Skull to like try to get her or something like that. Or something. Maybe, because then she'd be like here and maybe Red Skull and the Grunts can like try to get her. I don't know. Or I could just rotate. Anyway, what happened was this was not like that impactful. She came up here, attacked her. I threw a building at her. She took 1 damage. I attacked her. She took 3 damage. I had to push her, so I couldn't kill her with radiation zone, whatever. A mistake here would be I should have been in. So I went the Mystic one because I was afraid of typing of him, but it allowed him to attack these guys and push Red Skull if he was in his energy form. Like there's no throws over here, so it was really just like the if Shang got to attack him, but like with the way like the only way Shang attacks his Mystic is like he walks here, charges up here, and gets 1 attack on him. And I had 6 health, so I probably wasn't dying in one hit, and then Shang just like gets obliterated. So luckily with bump and stuff, it wasn't like the biggest deal, but it was still a little annoying. Yeah, Mummy, what was that? What happened? Oh, he pushed me back. Yeah, so he's standing back there. So here is where I kill her with Danny. I get pushed here. I think the play I would have done different here would be I would have got back on the building. You'll see that bite me in the butt later. But I should have walked back on the car. I walk like behind the car somewhat, and I could have bent it more to go really behind it, and that really like fucked me. I should have walked back on the car. I kind of wanted Heroes Rage. I should have probably been like right here on the car, on the truck. And you'll see why. So we go. Thor does his play. He attacks and I'll be frank here. I don't know how lucky it was. It's not like he auto kills A-Bomb, but it was fortunate enough that A-Bomb did not. He had pretty poor Thor rolls this turn. He only got to do 1 chip to Danny and then attack A-Bomb. It didn't do much to him. He did burn my brace because he threw me into Blade, which he would have just killed Blade. Like I think Blade would have died if I didn't do that. And maybe that's another case to say, fine, let Blade die, right? Okay, I don't get to hold this point because 2 of my people were off of it, but I get priority back, which would be a big thing. But Blade does do 3 damage to him, so maybe it's not so bad. What happens next? I don't think anything is too big. Okay, I go up. I push him. Did I have to bump up on the building? No, I could just walk back. Okay, right here I should have bumped to the left, I think, to be a little bit more on the inside. It's not huge, but it's something to always consider. Shang got hexed and put back here, so I could potentially kill him next turn. Blade walks up. Blade attacks Thor, puts him at 4. I can either get a point by standing on this, or I can attack him again. I just decided to get my point. I think maybe, like if I was going to do that, so I did my katana, and then, like I think if I was going to do that, I think the play is to, attack Thor with my normal attack, and then hope to roll the hit, so I can run at him, right? And if I don't, that shit happens, right? Try to get the bleed or the hit, and then run at him, attack him with my katana, and then bump backwards to the point, potentially. So that was just something to think about. And there's probably, yeah. This is one that people questioned. He ran Steve over here, Steve whiffed. So like he did roll pretty bad over here. Like A-Bomb not dying. I don't know how bad it was, but it was bad enough. So I could either shoot Danny or shoot Shang. I keep calling him Danny. I could shoot Shang, or I could run on the point with him. So I ran on the point with him. And my reasoning I talked about after the game was it's an auto point, like an auto denial of a point. I'm already going to go up 9-6. And it's part of this idea that you want to limit, like Shang being on 10 power, or how much he has now, +2, right? Shang being on 8 power next turn does not make me feel really good. Compared to, I would have had to kill him and hit the trigger to get an extra point. If I miss both, right, because he's in cover with blanks, if I miss both, he gets a point and I don't deny him the point. And then, like, if I just kill him, I don't know. I just didn't want to kill him because I thought I could, kill him on. I didn't want to have to like go through the other side. I was like, I just want to key daze you at some point. So if this turn ended very similarly, I would have wanted Mummy to bump over here, and I want Danny to be up on the building, which is a big deal when you kind of see why. You'll see why. So he goes with his Thor. I maybe should have Heroes for Hire this attack. I was a little scared because Danny had a scroll. But there is some value in it in that I don't think I could have got out of it because of where Blade is. He just gets chipped. I guess there's something to be said of like throwing, if Danny survives the attack, which he would have just given the dice roll, throwing him into... he has to move me first, then I get to throw him, and maybe throwing him into somebody important would be good. So he goes here. He attacks Thor again, he attacks Blade again, and so this is where it really matters. So if he picks up the scroll, he doesn't get pushed, which is actually really good for him. That was actually not risky. It was not risky, but it was good. I mean, actually, that was really important scroll roll. Obviously, 4 dice and stuff, it's like 80 or 70-something, 87%. But if he fails the scroll roll, I'm pretty sure, because he's out of activations, if I push him like between A-Bomb and these guys right here, I don't think he makes the pounce to Danny. I think because he would have been just short, I think he would have been just short of pouncing to Danny, and he wasn't in range of terrain to throw anything. So this is why being on the terrain piece 2 turns later, or a turn later, was so important, was because if I'm sitting up here, I still get cover. Like, I'm in range of everything anyway, right? Like, it's not like I was so far out of Thor's range, and with his pounce and stuff, he can get to where he wants. But at this very moment, and Kurtis might have done stuff differently. So that's why you really have to be like, you can make comments about, oh, I would have done this, and it would have been so great, but you can't go super far with it, because you got to be like, well, he could have did something different, right? It wouldn't have just changed everything. But just, if Danny's up there, this line becomes less useful because he can't pounce at me and he's not close enough to throw it immediately. So all of a sudden, he probably pounces at Blade, to be completely honest with you, which would have been better for me. He bounces at Danny. He just I don't roll any blocks, so he kills me, which does suck because I would have loved to make him throw the car at me to burn 3 power and just to get it out of my own way, because I don't have a lot of things for next turn. He can't throw it. There's bullshit like that. So this is where I think I made the biggest mistake. Like, absolutely the biggest at this point in the game where we are right here, and this is what I agonized over last night, was I went with Blade, and I bumped, spendered Thor to kill him, and then like just picked up the scroll and walked back to the thing. Healed 1. I was so like scared to have Blade daze, and I saw, that I went with him. And then Shang kills. So what happens is I go with Blade, he dazes him, picks up the scroll, walks back here, and then Shang dazes Red Skull too. And the problem with that is, I mean, sure, like, 2 things were bad about that. One, obviously, losing the Red Skull activation is huge, and I'll explain why, like, the potential of what could have been. But also, like, the odds of him, like, dazing Red Skull 2 are probably better than I think, because you gotta remember, he's hexed, and I have my Mystic up, so he can't, it's either 5 or 4, but he has Chi Mastery, and he has the power, and he has the leadership, so he basically gets almost, like, +3 damage, depending on his rolls, to do 6 to me. So like he basically is doing like kind of a 3 natural with 2 attacks. Like it's been probably the 67% range. I don't know the math. I mean, depending if you roll the hit to actually do the leadership, whatever, right? There's always things. So I go with Thor, or I go with Blade. So the play that I think I should have did was I should have gone with Red Skull 2. I should have walked the grunts back behind the building. Maybe even completely behind it. Not even take a shot. Just say, screw it, I'm going behind the building. And then he should have double shot Danny to try to kill him, right? I have to do 2 damage. He's hexed. I get blanks. Like, let's just let it rip, right? Um, I could even bump out of 2 if I was worried about getting. I could either incinerate him with. I could incinerate him with cosmic obliteration if I wanted. I could bump out so he couldn't throw me, but then I wouldn't be in range of the thing, which would kind of suck unless I got the trigger. So I did consider bumping here, giving incinerate to both these models, and then like either shooting her or shooting Danny. And then maybe the idea being if I shoot Danny and get him in one shot, well, then he gets cover if I back up. That's what kind of sucks. If he's out of 2, he get cover. I could bump. I could maybe bump it away. That's fine. Double shooting him is like 90% chance to kill him. So we'll take that. And so what I would end up with is being Danny dead, Grunts back here scoring a point, Red Skull over here. And so now we're in the situation. This is where like thinking through all the things. It's hard to go from here. We're in the situation, I have, at this point, he would have 3 models to my 2. I have Mummy and Blade, and he has Proxima. There's a scroll back here behind next to her. Steve and Beast, right? So, and we'll talk about why even if I didn't do Red Skull, what I did with Blade was worse. So now, if you think about the situation, is even if he picks up that scroll and dives after Blade, so like I don't think he comes back. I don't think Proxima comes to my side because she's going to get 1 attack max. She can't, because she's injured, she can't take the point from my Grunts or Red Skull. And even though I'm in energy defense, like 5 dice is not going to kill me. And so then she's standing next to Red Skull for maybe next turn, or for Mummy still there, so Mummy could like blast her or something. Like, I don't know if she wants to bring the fight to Mummy's side. So what I think she would do is I think she would pick up the scroll, get pushed or not, doesn't matter. I think she has room. Walk towards Blade and do her 5 dice energy to try to kill him and place on that point. That's what I think he would do. If he does that, I would pass. And then at this point, if you look at the board, he's dazed 3 people on one side, but Steve is stuck, right? Steve can't do shit. He has 1 power. He can walk somewhere. Like, okay, he can double walk somewhere. Maybe I don't think he can attack on anybody from where he is. So he's gonna probably stand on a point. And then Beast, I don't even know if Beast can get B to B. I think you have to be a long mover to do that. So I think he couldn't even get to Red Skull if Red Skull even like bumped over here or something. Now, of course, he could wait for Mummy to do something and then like try to punish Mummy afterwards. But I think for the most part, he doesn't have many options over here. He's kind of just dicking around. And then what I would do with my last Mummy activation is walk over here. Now, I also, if he doesn't go with Proxima and he waits, then he risks Blade gets active. I mean, he could throw the car at Blade and try to kill it and hope to do the 2, which is pretty likely. He could get 1 attack on Blade with him. I think they're both out of 3 to start. I'm not sure. This is probably 3, actually. He could try to kill Blade, and I'm okay with that. If he kills Blade, I probably double walk Mummy to pick up the scroll. And I should have probably did that anyway. So after he kills, because if I pick it up and I don't get pushed, I can bump off the building and just be behind the truck, and then no one really is threatening me. And it's even with it, it's not easy for her to double tap me through armor, even with my 2 dice. So I think I went with Thor. I killed Blade, Thor. Even then, like, maybe in this moment, I have a scroll on him, which isn't showing up. Nope, this is before I get dazed. Oh, this is when Red Skull dies. Yeah, Red Skull dazes. That sucks so much. Like, he just did enough. I didn't block enough. And that math wasn't even that great. Like, it was like 70, 60. It wasn't, what I mean by that is, like, it's not like I auto died there. I probably should have this point right here. Oh, nope, here. So I'd already gone with Blade. Blade's here. So this is before Proxima goes. Blade walks here, and so Proxima... Oh, she just walked, I guess. She's there, yeah. So after I dazed Skull, I pass, because he has 3 to my 1. I think here I still should have double walked and picked up this stupid thing. I don't know if it mattered. It probably didn't matter at that point. I mean, you can go to the rest of the game and say, I mean, I'll talk about it for a second. Like, okay, I had a really, if you watch the game, I had a cool play to try to kill Thor, right? I spender, I spender Steve, who I whip, but I get the throw. I throw him in the Thor. Thor blocks the entire throw. I normal attack Thor. I do a bunch of damage. He recals it. I end up doing 3 damage. And now he's on 3 damage and poisoned, and I have 6 power. I'm gonna have 6. Oh, he clapped me back, so I gave me 2 power, but I only need 6 power. So I would have had the 6 power, and I have Gamma Burst and the poison thing in my card, so I have a guaranteed 3 damage right now. I had a guaranteed 3 damage almost. I mean, I hit the wild to get the poison, but at this very point, I have a guaranteed 3 damage. He survived the throw. I have a Siege of Darkness. I was going to siege anyway to kill. I Cosmic Ablit and Daze Shang, and then I have a 5 dice Danny and a 4 dice Blade to do 2 damage to Thor, or try to. And if he does, he auto dies to my other stuff. And then I'm in a pretty. It's still a hard position because it's still 9-12. He has 3 scrolls. I would pick one up here. Red Skull and Mummy are out of the fight. Like, it's definitely not ending automatically by any means. But I'm in a better position and Thor's dead. Instead, Thor lives, kills all my models, and I lose. So just kind of talk about back here why it was so important and why this move with Thor was so bad is the score is 9-6, right? I'm up by 3. If I kill Shang and survive over here, I have 3 points. I'm going to 12. The max he can get is 5. He would keep the scroll on Steve. Proxima would pick this one up, and he has one on Beast, right? Because he ended up getting the one I got back from Thor. So he got what he was got anyway. There's 0 chance I think he gets one of these 2 points. It's very hard. I mean, even if she comes over, he's dealing with Mummy. I don't think it's good. So at worst case, it's probably 11 to 12 me, right? So I'm up by 1. And then I still have priority because he had 3 to my 2 people, right? And if he dazes Blade, I definitely have priority. But now I'm starting the turn basically as I did before. Now he did have to do some nice sacrifice setup where he was going to get fisted by Danny. But essentially we were going to start the turn with him, because I would have walked Mummy over, with Thor on 4 health instead of 8, right? So now if you think about what happened last turn potentially, it's like everything that happened before could have happened, right? But the different 2 versions would be Thor would be on 4 health. Like, the game's going to end. It's 12 to 11. The likelihood is if I daze Thor, and I'm probably going to be in a good spot. Like, Danny's over here, or not Danny, Shang's over here, and he basically has to go with Red Skull, kill Red Skull, right? So if you think about activation order, and this is where like MCP gets kind of weird or interesting, is you can always see parts of the board, but you gotta also see like the order they have to go in, right? So like they have to do things in specific order. So okay, Shang's gonna wake up and kill Red Skull, right? So let's just say somebody kills Thor, whether it's some giant. And we don't know where Proxima would be, or Beast, or Steve. We don't know, so it's hard. But to the point is, somebody's going to kill Thor, daze him, and take his scroll, right? And now, like, okay, you have to go with Shang, or else Red Skull's going to, like, run away or kill you, right? Your grunts are back here. So even if Shang gets Red Skull, right? He gets Red Skull, and he's probably not getting the grunts as well. So, like, he's in a position where he's going to score his 2 points. I'm getting 1. Okay, so we're over here. We basically make the game tied. And then over here, it's Proxima, Steve, and Beast versus Blade, A-Bomb, Danny, Mummy, with priority, with siege. One of them would have had to go on and probably steal Thor's thing. And really, depending on how it went, like, it could be a matter of sieging into killing Thor, into activating Danny, who then activates, I don't know, Proxima or Steve, and then all of a sudden he has 2 models, right, to do anything with. because I had fist up. So that's the kind of like, and then like, okay, I need 4 points to win the game. My grunts are getting me 2, even if Danny kills Red Skull. I mean, if he doesn't, I think the game's if Danny and not Shang, if Shang doesn't kill Red Skull, the game's probably over there because I'm scoring 3 there, and I'm gonna get 1 over here. And with Gamma Burst and 10 power and A-Bomb, no one's killing him from full without Thor alive. And he's just, he can, with his spender and his all of the power, he could probably push people off points or just ping them to death like he almost do. So that's where I honestly, like I said, Kurtis played a great game, and he did a couple things that needed to be done. Like, I think one thing I thought about was when Mummy went and tried to push Shang off the point, like right here, I think not yet. When Mummy went and tried to push Shang off the point, I could have ran him next to here and set up a turn for set up a anti-sacrifice turn to basically say, oh, if you don't put Steve in the correct location, like if you put Steve here, I'm gonna have Mummy sitting here to like hit Thor first, to push him out of sack range so Danny can activate him. And then maybe it worked. It was just the score was too much up. I think the Red Skull thing was the big one. But this is kind of like the progression, and I'm going to end the video soon. This is like the progression of reviewing a game. Like, okay, you can't overthink it too much, right? There's rolls that went very well for me. What if A-Bomb Days is turn 1? There's what if X or Y. This could have been a moment where if Bill was in this list, which he's not, but he's in my new list. If Bill was in there, Red Skull 2 could have been Bill, and Voodoo could have been Danny, and then you kind of threaten like, okay, I can safe grab on the side. I have flight. On the other side, A-Bomb does his thing, and now when he goes and steals the one in front of the taco truck, Voodoo can walk up and like, if he gets pushed, Voodoo's like going to attack him. Like, things like that, where you can punish the model who's going to pick up yours a lot better than with Danny and Blade, especially given there was a fucking car in front of a huge truck in front of it. Like, every one of these ones were safe for him to grab, at least from pushing towards me. So, like, just knowing the map, okay, it's infinity, so Bill gets an extra power, so safe grabbing, he's actually not stuck on 2 power the next turn. There's a bunch of fucking buildings to throw. He only has Thor. I have A-Bomb. So, like, being able to throw this size 4, throw this size 4, throw this size 3, get ahead of the game on throws, push people off points. Like there is some advantage to having, like, that setup. Like, actually, in this particular case, with priority, maybe sometimes Bill A-Bomb would be a stronger play on Infinity just because the power you're getting with Bill keeps him going. And, of course, Red Skull 2 does more damage and stuff, but now you have somebody like Voodoo to kind of steal and play more of a scenario game where you're not going to like just kill everything. But even then, like you think about that stuff, and then you think about, okay, Thor play with the Siege was like, okay, maybe 70% to kill him. And maybe I would have won if I did that. But like, you can't focus on that. I'm not upset that Thor lived. I'm really not. Like, it sucks. I had a cool play. I tried it. I'm more upset as you go back and you say, damn, man, I should have activated Red Skull here. And then you go, man, Mummy should have been over a little bit more. Hell, Mummy, after he dazed Red Skull, Mummy should have probably walked and picked up this scroll just to make him. Now I have one with, at this particular, I have one with Blade and I have one with Mummy. And, like, he has 3 models left and they, maybe he can't kill all of them, right? Like, maybe it's a fight to try to do that, and maybe I hold on to one because it's a 2-point swing if I have one and he doesn't. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Proxima just walks over and kills Blade. I don't know. But, like, that's the kind of stuff you go through, and you need to think about. Danny should have been on the car, right? There's really no reason to be behind it. Or I should have walked him perfectly behind it. Like, I probably could have got a little bit further. Should I Heroes of Hire an attack earlier, right? There's all these things you can say, what if. Obviously, understanding, I don't really like when opponents go, oh, I would have done this. And then you're like, well, I would have done something different. Like, clearly the same path wouldn't have gone there. So it's hard to say for sure. But if you look at the game state, I think it goes to show when, like, understanding that you're going to win, when you're going to win what turn, and then getting dazes. Like, what I did with Blade, getting him to 4 health, helped me set up a potential where I could daze him into not needing to kill him, right? The daze gets rid of his activation, and my hands are free. I did what I needed to do. But killing him was terrible. He got the scroll back. It didn't help Blade much. Like, it's just shit like that, where, like, okay, if Proxima doesn't kill Blade, maybe, if Proxima doesn't kill Blade with her one attack, now he gets to go and he can attack Proxima and he heals some up. Like, there's all this shit, right? There's all this shit that, like, can happen. So, be smart. Review your games. You can only take so much from it. Every game is unique, but going through these things helps you grit things in line for next time. What can I do better? When can I bump better? What should I activation order better? Can I set up plays for next turn? That could maybe win me the game. I think, should I daze somebody now? Should I just let my team daze and say, okay, if Blade dazes here, which he dazed, like, Blade is going to die anyway, is his activation actually going to do something so useful, or should I do something more useful somewhere else? This one felt a little bit more obvious in hindsight, but obviously in the moment I didn't do it. But yeah, we can learn, we keep going. It's a little sad to see, but it was a good game. Obviously, with Kurtis, it's always a tight game. I'm sure we'll get a bunch of views because we always do. And thanks for listening.